everybody! So, this is going to be my inaugural run of Tad Talks, Tinfoil Tad, whatever you want to call it, on YouTube. And we'll start with just a general idea of what my plan is with this page, because I have been on an awakening. I have been becoming, and I'm currently becoming, who I feel like I'm supposed to be finally. There's no like Ellen moments popping out where I'm gonna, come out of the closet or anything. I was a weird kid, but none of that was for me, and I moved on. I am, however, becoming much more aware of the world around us, the way in which both humans and the energies of the earth interact. I am becoming very aware of my own consciousness and what my consciousness means in the world we're living in today. And I'm very much aware of the constant attempts at compartmentalization, at misinformation, at misguiding and misleading that goes on these social media sites. We can't turn on the news channels without fear of having to question every single thing that we see because we don't trust the news sources because they're all owned by one or two companies. We can't turn on our phones and go onto a social media app designed to just let us breathe for a second without constant barrage of ads, political ideologies, racial division, sexual division, division over religion, division over ethnicity, division over cultural backgrounds, division over everything. This world is become a constant compartmentalized society. And I had this grand illusion of how I was going to display it to you, but I suck at editing, so I'm not doing it. But instead, I can show you. Okay. So this is our country, right? Isn't that beautiful? It's heavy. It's made of metal, so I apologize. It's an awesome gift I got for Father's Day from my wife, from a gentleman, a veteran who... No, I don't know if he's a veteran. I'm not sure, but the dude's awesome, and he made this, and I love it. But I digress. So you have the country, right? Now let's say this was a bowl, and you flip it like this, and you fill it with water. It holds an inch of water, let's say, right? And then you drop a ball bearing or a bead, anything. Drop it into the water. What happens? The ripple will impact and spread to every corner of this country, right? Now, if you take this and you divide it into 50 states, and you close your eyes and you blindly drop that bead, what's it going to ripple? What's it going to affect? It's going to affect only that state, right, that it lands in, because you got walls up, right? Call them media walls, call them law walls, call them penal code laws, call it whatever you want to call it, but every division is a wall. Every division is a barrier, right? So you take that, you divide it by 50 states. I know that I'm not counting. We know what I mean. Lower 48, guys. I know. Just for the idea. So then you take that state, right? Pick a state. New York. I live in New York. You take that state and you divide up by however many counties. How many counties are in New York, right? We're going to look it up. I didn't prepare for my first video. We're doing this raw. New York State has 62 counties. So you take New York State, one of the 48, right? The lower 48, and you take that and you divide it by 62. Now you drop a bead in just New York State. What's it going to ripple? It's only going to ripple the county in which it lands. Now you take each individual county and you break it up by racial divides. You break it up by stages of tax brackets. You break it up by all the extra little things that they put in to compartmentalize us further. And then eventually you take that bead and you throw it up in the air and it lands at your feet, and that ripple only affects your feet. And that's what the algorithm is. The algorithm is controlling the ripples across all these social media sites. That's why they make it so hard for you to share content across sites. Each site is specifically built to gear people a certain direction with their content. That's why it's so hard for you to find the people that you link up with on one site on a different site, because the algorithm is trying to guide them in a completely different direction. They do not want you cross-communicating. They do not want you climbing over each of the individual fucking barriers and splishing your splashes everywhere, people. They don't want it. And I know that sounds like a silly analogy, but it's the truth. It's the truth. They control everything you hear, everything that you read, everything that you scroll, everything that AI tells you. They control every bit of it. How many of you, let's do a litmus test. How many people have had to ask something to AI that they knew the answer to already? And how many people have asked and gotten the wrong answer from ChatGPT? Now, I'm not talking like, what's the square root of 543,628? I don't know that. I don't think it knows it either. It might. I don't know. I'm talking about shit that's verifiable information, a news article or a scientific fact, and you ask a question regarding it, and you're not asking so much so for the information that you already have. You're asking for something else, another section of that information, right? So you ask it, and it spits out this crazy sentence, and you're like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about this. And then you realize it's trying to tell you that the thing that you already know is fact is not fact. It's trying to tell you that it's not even real in some cases. And I've had to argue with AI. I've had to argue with AI to accept and admit back to me that a fact was indeed a fact. After showing it multiple sources, after showing it, or after, communicating and physically reading the results from verified sites back to it again for it to acknowledge that site. This entire thing is built to keep everybody confused, to keep everybody questioning everything, so much so that you are so scared of the void around you that you are willing to grasp at anything that seems like control. So you look up, you turn on your TV, you turn on your phone, and you say, what is the most rock solid, steady thing in this world right now? And what do you see? You see your government on TV fucking shooting missiles and thermal imaging at planes and all the propaganda that we've been getting pumped into our bodies since we were fucking 18 and joined the military. You see groups of guys coming out in waves that don't look like a lot of the people that are normally doing the protesting, and it's starting to become more and more prevalent that the people who have done some shit and seen some shit and are now learning shit and have snapped out of have been far enough removed, whether it was because of medical retirement or whether it was because they just left the military or whatever it was, that the propaganda starts to wear off and you start to see things for what they are. And now granted, I've gone through ketamine treatments, which I will be discussing on the Vets Talk side. And I plan on doing other treatments as well to try and figure out what the fuck is going on in here, because I'm not done becoming what I'm supposed to become, and I know that. Right now I have several books, one published, probably 4 days of work by my loving and very much more patient than me wife, who is helping me get the photos in for my theory of a conspiracy book. And then I can get going on my sci-fi conspiracy books, the Weight of Light series. And I don't have an end in sight, guys. I don't have an end in sight. I don't know how to say it, but I have books. I have notepads, right? All these notepads have ideas in them. I have a file cabinet over here with all just my ideas for books in here. I have about 6 or 7 in there of ideas. I have one that I don't have, but because I sent the only, no, I didn't send the only copy. I have it on a thumb drive. I have one idea for a movie that I sent to a certain star who we won't name, Matt Damon, who hasn't messaged me back, because I truly believe that the big part of me becoming and my becoming and who Tad is supposed to become is supposed to be somebody that is going to be here, not at the top with 1 billion followers. My goal, my job, I feel like, is to be in with the people, communicating, talking to people, being there when people are waking up and going through this process, being there to help them through the confusing parts, not to get them to buy something that I'm selling, which I'm not attacking anybody who does that. I think it's awesome if you can find a niche. I do sell books, obviously. I'm an author. So, you know what I mean? We have bills to pay. The power needs to be on for the microphone to work. But past that, I believe my goal is to tell the stories. I want to tell the stories that make people question the things around them. I believe that the truth to everything is in the question why. The truth is in the why. If you keep asking those questions, you'll chip away at all the layers of nonsense and propaganda and misinformation, and you'll start to see the true structure underneath. You'll see the bare bones of how this machine is actually running. You know what I mean? And it's a crazy thing, this process, because the machine isn't pretty, and the way it runs is not pretty. And if you have humanity and integrity, and you live leading with love and respect and all these things, like a lot of these people who are on this more spiritual path of awakening are, and I am one of those people, you have to throttle it with you have to throttle it with like common sense, right? You have to throttle it with the understanding that all these things that are happening aren't great, and there's horrible shit going on in the world, and it seems like nobody cares. But the problem is that we have to understand is that it's not because nobody cares. It's because they're really good at the game of deceit. They are really good at not letting people know what's going on while letting them know exactly what's going on. They do it in books, they do it in news, they do it in fucking meeting up with the Kardashians and all those nonsense shows that people stare at like zombies. All the reality TV shows that have no actual reality at all in them. They just create this fake illusion for people to want to strive towards. So now you have whole generations of fucking of women just giving away their fucking essence for likes and clickbait, and you have guys fucking willing to do horrible things for clickbait to other human beings and to women. But it's this weird culture of it. The Black Mirror episodes, guys, are not far from reality when you scrape everything off of the layers. Eagle Eye is not far from reality when you scrape off the layers. And we have to understand that so that we can work within it. You're trying to work within a frame of a construct of what you believe it should be, and you're wondering why it doesn't work. And it's because in reality, that's not where you are. So you're trying to make something work. You're trying to drive the machine that you don't have the fucking key for. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the vehicle you're in right now. You think you are. The interior looks the same, but the key don't work, because the vehicle we're actually in is fucking driving in a totally different direction, and the people that are driving it are fucking horrible people. And until we realize that, you're stuck. You're stuck spinning your wheels. You don't want to change. You don't trust anybody, so you won't let anybody else in to try and give you any misinformation. You're so burnt out from every news channel lying to you and every magazine lying to you and every fucking ad constantly barraging you in your face and all this blue light technology and all this shit. We are constantly barraged. It is a constant attack on our minds. It's a constant attack on our spirit, which I think it's personally what they're after. I think that they're after our essence, our aether, our soul, our loosh, our attention, whatever you want to call it. That's what they want. Whether it's an actual physical, tangible energy source, or it is something that is just ideological. You cannot connect your brain to one thing or the other. You have to keep your mind open to any and all possibilities at every given time. If you do not have your mind open to every possibility at any given time, you will never receive new information and you will never find the truth. Because you've started with a preconceived notion that you already know the answers to everything. And then everything that comes after that is wrong. Because you've started on a foundation of misinformation. We can't be mad at these people as they wake up because they voted for this guy or they voted for that guy, or they don't believe that Palestine has a right to it. We have to take the initial people in, and then we have to understand that it is literally this equivalent of re-educating somebody that's been brainwashed by a cult. It's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. There's no other way to say it that will make people understand the severity of the situation. They are really good at this. They've been doing it to us since at least 1946-ish, right? At least, but I believe much further. And if you've ever gone down any of the rabbit holes of 13 original colonizing families that I call it, they just tweaked the name a little bit. You find certain names, and you find certain names pop up a lot, and people are scared to say the certain names. I'm not. It's the Rothschilds that pops up the most. But I honestly believe people are like, the Rothschilds, the head of the monster. I personally, ooh, look, I'm sweating already. I personally believe the Rothschilds are like the left fucking shoulder. I don't think that I think they're up there, but I don't think they're the top. I think the ones running the religion are at the top. That's the real racket. And people who aren't understanding that this religion, all these religions, are a racket is crazy. It's, guys, every thing you know is wrong. Every bit of information that we were ever taught, this entire generation of people, everything that we learned in school is not. It was a fallacy. It means nothing in the grand scheme. We learned nothing. We were taught nothing. We have no further value to add unless you go to a higher learning institution, which is just a gate-kept fucking knowledge facility, and you pay to play. There's a reason why these bloodlines continue, and there's a reason why these fucking rich people stay rich and we stay poor. It is very specifically built from all the way back to the late 1800s in the Smithsonian Institute's annual report to the Board of Regents. And it goes back further because I have all the books. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever come across old books, you buy them. You don't ask questions. I'm not talking about encyclopedias. I'm talking about these books were written by the people who thought that they were in charge, who decided how this country was going to go, and these books are a direct record of the shit that they do. They just weren't as good at hiding it back then because of the technology at the time, or at least the technology that was being shared at the time, right? So it's not a hypothesis from some dude in his parents' basement. It is the logical outcome of research upon research upon research, hours and hours of digging, which started as just research for a fiction book has become this, where we're gonna be the main news sources that people can go to moving forward. That's crazy, but that's proof. That's proof that everybody knows at some level this shit ain't right, because everybody that's not going directly to their news station religiously clearly understands that we're being lied to at some level. And the people who are still going to the news stations are the ones that are either out of the loop age-wise or intelligence-wise. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm just saying that you may not yet understand that your favorite news agency is now owned by the same person who owns the other horrible news agency that you can't stand watching. Do you know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? If you watch people like Ian Carroll, and you watch people, and you watch the videos by guys like Consume and Redacted and Jake and all these guys who are asking questions, and then you're watching this group of people go on this knowledge trip where they see this information, you watch them wake up to it, and then you watch their reaction as they get censored for trying to speak it. And it's like a proud dad watching his kids take his first step. I didn't create you guys, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I've been on that path for a long time, and watching, I'm not popular on the socials because I'm me. I didn't fucking log into this shit. I played video games and stuck my head in the sand for a long time after I got medically retired from the military. That was my leg, not a foot. But I digress. Compartmentalization is killing us. The point of this was to bring it up to you guys so that we could see that my goal is to be able to drop my knowledge and have it hit everybody, right? Now, whether or not you decide to take what I say, whether you decide to scroll past, whether you even watch the video, that's fine. That's your choice. That's the beauty of this fucking country. But it should be allowed for me to have the conversations with the people I want to have about the topics I want to have the conversations about, without somebody deciding whether or not it is allowed based on the rules and regulations and the shareholder profit margins that a company is looking to keep. That's all it boils down to. And every one of these companies is the same. YouTube's no better than TikTok. They're just owned by different people. So until we crowdsource enough money to build a proper site and do this shit right, we live at the mercy of the fucking overlords above, and we hope that we don't say nothing too saucy that gets us kicked off. See, they want it saucy enough where they can make money off of you, but not saucy enough where they take any heat from you. They want your creativity. They want you making videos. They want you doing all the hours of editing yourself. They want you pouring everything you have into it because it makes it easy for them to platform it and make money off of you. And then when you don't make enough money for them to consider you worthwhile, there goes your page. There goes everything you've worked for. There goes your 1 million followers. There goes your 2 million followers. There goes your 100,000 followers. There goes your 2,200 followers. But they take it away, and then they say, oh, I'll try again. But this time, don't say things that make us look bad. It's not going to happen. So, this page is going to be TED Talks. Tinfoil Tad. TED Talks, actually. And Tinfoil Tad is me. I'm Tinfoil Tad. and welcome to Tad Talks with Tinfoil Tad. So, I haven't come up with a schedule yet, but I'm going to. And I'm also going to be very much pushing a few other creators to form a roundtable type group where we can have conversations, even from long distances. Have those good conversations where people can come together and share their beliefs and not be ridiculed for it. Have open dialogue and conversation. Be willing to accept that your view may not be the true view. I have to accept that too. I am not creating this page so that I can say that, Bigfoot's real and everyone has to say that, or I delete and unsubscribe them, or whatever the hell you would do. I don't care about that. I don't care how many followers I get. I want to connect with the people who give a fuck enough about everything going on in this world that they are willing to come along on this journey with me. Because this journey touches, the awakening doesn't just happen for one thing. You don't just wake up to bad government. You wake up to the shit they're putting in our food, the fluoride that's in our water, along with 11 other chemicals. If you've ever had to off-gas your water from the sink because it smelled like chlorine, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, and you live in a city and you don't have filtered water, fill a glass with water, cover the top, and then smell it, and tell me what you smell. You have to wake up to the fact that they twist words in horrible ways to get you to eat shit that you would never put in your mouth by calling it natural flavorings. And I use this one a lot. It's one of the ones I use as an icebreaker for conspiracy theorists. It is Google B12 vitamins, ladies. Ladies, you take a lot of B12, right? Google where B12 vitamin comes from. I'll wait. I'm waiting. I want you to actually Google it. Have we Googled it yet? Most of the B12 that you buy, ladies and gentlemen, is derived from scraping the sludge off the top of the water sewage treatment plants. It crystallizes on the inside of the storage tanks of the sewage treatment plant. And they scrape it off. And you know why they can do that? Because it's natural. They take words and they twist them to make you think that you're eating all natural, organic, whatever the fuck raised. Guys, they're playing with you. Did you know that they can call something that is lab grown from stem cells organic? Because it's organic. It's natural. Because it grows naturally. They didn't have to put compounds together to create it. They can call it natural. They can call it real food. They can take strips of meat and glue them together with a glue that looks like fat and sell it to you as a steak because it's technically true. All those little pieces did come off of a steak. But you still eat it, don't you? I still do too. I'm not hating. I don't want to talk about McDonald's. When you wake up, it's not just one thing. You wake up to everything. You wake up to the corruption in our financial system. You wake up to the fact that our financial system is a fucking joke of a nightmare made up by one dude in the fucking 1800s who was a shit show and an incestual family of rapists and murderers, yeah, we know, who believe that they have the right to reign over us as human beings because we allow it. You wake up to the stock market. I took courses on the stock market. I know how to. I learned how to day trade. Uh, I wasn't. I'm good at it. I'm in like 65 to 75% uh, success in my trades, but I haven't traded in a long time because we don't have money. I was going through. We're going through a bankruptcy for uh, trying to. Silly us had the illusion that we could have the American dream and open a business coming out of COVID, and that didn't work out, and we lost our ass. So I didn't really have money for spending on that. But what I did do is I did learn it. I did take all the courses, and I traded, and I watched the traders. I watched the simulators play, and I watched how it ran. And once you watch how it run, maybe it's autism, I don't know, but you literally can see they own the money. They create the market themselves, and they have rules set in place where they don't lose any of their money. They're allowed to take as much of your money as they want. So they create these waves. They put fake information into the news to get the waves to start. And then they expect traders, small time traders like us, to dive in and try to trade on that fake wave that they made. And then they just take all your money and it drops. Have you ever noticed that if you've traded? It's on purpose. You're going to Vegas. You're gambling. It is not real. It is not real. It's all a complete fallacy. It's bullshit. And once you wake up to that, you can't unsee it. And then you have to work within that system still because that system still functions. You have to have that system because of how good they got at setting us up in this fucking open air prison that we're in. You start to see synchronicities. There are no such thing as coincidences. There are only synchronicities. And when you start to see the synchronicities, you start to see the truth. You start to see that there are people very clearly guiding the direction of our country, specifically and solely for profit, without a care for the actual humanity and integrity of the people that they are tasked with caring for, and they do it openly. They laugh at you while they kidnap your kids, rape and murder them, dismember them and eat them. They laugh at you while they charge you for 17 different types of insurance and tax you for the same $100 15 times until by the time you're done with your purchases, you've only spent about 15 cents of your $100. The rest is in taxes. They laugh at you while they start a war, throttling the oil prices, purchasing as much of it as they could, and then fucking watching it rise as they make billions of dollars. You start to notice that you watch them take $10 billion from our country and our taxpayer pockets to make a peace fucking group with the ever constant president and chairman forever and ever, amen, President Trump, as the head. We paid for that. Where the fuck did we get $10 billion from? Do we not understand how debt works? It's all an illusion. It's an illusion created by shitty men, perpetrated by shitty men and women, and continued by shitty men and women for hundreds of years. But we have to work within the system, so we still do it. We still fucking, we're, paying all our bills and fucking still trying my best not to shop at any store that's not local, but can't do it anymore because every store that was local got curbed out, including my restaurant. When you start to wake up, you start to see the rot, and you can't unsee it, and it makes people sad. People get depressed in this part of the awakening process. They get saddened by the overwhelmingness of everything that is thrown at you, and it's hard for people to digest. Some people don't digest it. They punch out, and some people just say fuck it and just leave the system altogether. I can't do that. I have 5 daughters. and a granddaughter. I hope. I haven't met her yet, but I hope to one day meet her. Um, and you can't, in good conscience, hand over a world to the people you care about in the condition it's in. And just saying, well, that's the way it is what it is crazy. It's crazy. So my goal is to wake people up of every aspect. Wake you up from the struggles of a manufactured religion that is specifically designed and built to pit people against each other, and to have a victim, a villain, and a victorious, valiant savior ready to swoop in and protect them. That's built, that is designed that way on purpose by man. And they did it in such a sleight of hand, graceful, great reset kind of a way that nobody noticed. And they're gonna try and do it again. That's what we're feeling now. What everyone's feeling is there is something brewing naturally that they know about, just like the last time, that they're going to use as an excuse for another major shift in their plan. And you need to be ready for it. You need to be watching for it, and you need to be watching for the patterns around it. In your news, in your entertainment, in your favorite TV show, in every content creator, you need to be watching it. You need to be building your own algorithm of dissecting the information in your head, running it through humanity and integrity filters, and running it through the bullshit filter that we all have. We all know when bullshit's bullshit and something doesn't sound right. We all know when we're being fed a line. Some of us are willing to take it because we're happy in our tax brackets. Most of us are not willing to take it. And the people who are willing to take it because it's not affecting their tax brackets don't understand yet that they are not part of the upper crust. They are just the B12 chemical on the bottom of the upper crust septic tank. Do you see what I'm saying? They think they're important, but they're not. And they don't yet realize that because they think that their tax bracket puts them up here in safety zone, but it doesn't. I'm talking to the 150 to 1.5 million group of people, you know what I mean, or 2.5 million group of people. You're not rich, and you're disposable to them as well. And you know how I know that? Because they started putting subscriptions for heated seats in BMWs. They didn't do that for me. They did that for you. They want your money. And you're going to pay it too. Because it's going to get cold. And your ass is going to be cold. And you're going to be like, I deserve heated seats. And you're going to pay for it. And when they connect your car to biometrics and you have to fucking, stare into a camera to start the car, and the camera detects road rage and makes you pull over, or the camera decides that you shouldn't drive and shuts your car off, the 1% chance that it's an actual safe scenario where they were in the right to do that will be washed out by the billion times that they chose to use it for nefarious reasons, which is the actual purpose. Because when nefarious people are in charge of protecting you and they wave all this wonderful technology in your face, understand that it is not for you, it is to be used against you. Flock cameras are not for your safety. It is so that they can track you, so they can keep an eye on dissidents, political dissidents. That is it. That's what they want. They want you to shut up, pay your taxes, do what you're told, and farm the money for them so they can sit at the top and pick the profits. So all I'm here to do is snap people out of it. That's my goal. Snap people out of it. And if it works for one person, I've done my job. And I've already done my job because I know I've reached people. Not on this platform. I'm new to this platform, relatively. But I'm going to reach people on this platform too, because it needs to happen. And I am prepared for attacks on my sex. I am prepared for attacks on my race. I am prepared for attacks on all of the things that make me me. I am aware that I look like the problem. I am aware that I look like a fucking police officer. I am aware of people not coming up and talking to me at protests because they think I'm an undercover cop. I am not. I assure you, go look at my TikTok page. I'm not a fucking undercover cop. But 20 years in the military makes you stand a certain way. 20 years in the military makes you act a certain way. 20 years, 40 years of growing up in a neighborhood where you had to fight every day makes you stand a certain way. So I am who I am. If you can't accept that I can fucking appreciate you wanting to be a unicorn while also, looking the way I do, then I guess you're not for me. And this is where our relationship ends. But that's not what I hope for. My goal when I created the original Batcave over on TikTok was to create a place for people to go to just get away from the bullshit that is weighing down on everybody every minute of the day. We are weighed down by so much. It's a purposefully designed blanket of agitation and anxiety, a wet blanket designed to keep us where we are. It is by design. It is billions of dollars have gone into how to keep you staring at your phone, how to keep you walking down the aisles at Walmart, how to keep you paying your fucking taxes even though it's a voluntary tax system and we shouldn't be paying it to begin with. They don't want you to question why the fuck we would allow people at 18 years old to sign up to die for our country, but they can't have a drink of alcohol. We connect these dots. We wake people up to why these things are set up the way they're set up. Right? Because they don't want you smart enough to know that they're lying to you, because then you wouldn't go and die for them. They need cannon fodder. And since Tesla hasn't been able to produce the robot army that they've been promising all these billionaires, they still have to keep using us. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, those Tesla robots are not for you. They are to replace you. You see, when the robots come, when they produce them on a mass level and AI has taken most of the jobs and the robots are taking the rest of the jobs, as a sentence I never thought I'd have to say in my life, you're going to realize that everyone who was middle management down will be gone. The people who were upper management are going to be the only humans with jobs. They're going to be the liaisons between the robots and the humans. That's the only layer of human interaction. So the upper class will still exist, but it will be to serve. And the rest of us will be down in the drudges. They want us in 15-minute cities and little nice tucked away apartments of efficiency, eating whatever fucking mass-produced slop they throw in front of us and expecting us to be happy about it. And the reason they're going to do it is because all they really want is the money. All they really want is the control. And once they have that with robots, they won't need you anymore. They don't need to worry about unions. They don't need to worry about healthcare. They won't have to worry about it. The machine will continue creating for them. The billionaires use us as cogs in their ATM machine. That is the only purpose we serve to them. And robots can replace those cogs. And they will. And the robots won't require their own profit, so even more of the money will be able to go to them. It's not for you to fucking have their intention. Billionaires did not get together and decide, how can we get Beverly in Florida a robot to help with her dishes and her rheumatoid arthritis. They didn't do that. That's not what they're doing. They want Beverly in a home, controlled, where all of Beverly's possible finances go to them, and they keep her alive in exchange. And then they want all Beverly's kids fucking scrolling TikTok and stuck in the doom scroll and throwing pennies at people who are dancing on TikTok. That's what they want. They want people chasing 15 minutes of fame, and they want to use all the creativity that we have and they want to use it only for themselves, for that profit. And they're going to continue doing it until we stop feeding them. But I digress. This has been 45 minutes. Thought it was going to be a 10-minute video. I talk a lot. I ramble. My brain is like catching leaves, driving a car 100 miles an hour down the thruway, sticking your hand out the window and trying to catch a single leaf. That's me trying to catch a thought. And then I can catch it and bring it in and read it, and it's not even the right fucking thought. So then I gotta do it again. So if you see me hesitate in videos mixed with my poor editing, it might be a problem. I apologize. But until I learn how to edit, that's what you're gonna get. You know what I mean? So, the Batcave will be open on YouTube now. I'm going to set up a schedule. I am highly encouraging people to spread the word about me on Facebook, or not on Facebook, on YouTube, as my second account is about to go down on TikTok again. And TikTok does not like conspiracy theories, especially ones that deal with tunnels and lizards. I don't know why. I'd love to know, TikTok, why there's that one thing we can't say about that one group of people. It's really weird that we can't say it. Anyways, my new book, The Weight of Light, is the first book in my series. It's about a guy having an awakening and realizing that there are evil reptilians that live in tunnels underneath the earth, seeking to come out and make their presence known. I'm sure these two stories are unrelated. But I digress, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate every one of you. I appreciate anyone who stayed to listen long enough. Probably my mom and my wife, and probably one of my kids. The rest of you, stick around as long as you can. I appreciate it. Share far and wide. And if anybody knows Matt Damon, tell him to read his fucking mail, because I sent him a pitch months ago. And if we're going to fix Hollywood and pump some new life with integrity and humanity into Hollywood, which I believe is what my purpose is, as part of my becoming, is to bring integrity, humanity, and entertainment actually back to Hollywood. I want to make people want to go to the movies again. I want to make people want to go out into their communities and interact with each other. Not out of fear that something bad and horrible is going to happen around every turn. And we can make that happen. Matt Damon. You can bring Ben if you want, but I don't know, that dude's a little sus to me. I still don't know what side of the fucking Diddy line he was on, so for now I ask you not to bring him, but we'll have that conversation when the time comes, Matthew. I appreciate everybody else. High five.